Hi dear ones, today we are going to study the chapter motion. In this particular chapter there are certain subtopics. One is origin, then rest, motion, distance and displacement. So first of all we will start with first topic. We generally and very simply say this word distance. But do you really know the meaning of distance? What exactly the distance means in physics? What is the meaning of distance? So I'll tell you the definition and then we will discuss about it. Distance is the actual length of the path covered by a body from one position to another position. Distance is the actual length of the path covered by the body between one position to another position. So you are moving from one position to another position, going by one position to another position. Whatever actual length of the path you will cover, that will be called as distance. Like suppose I am starting from point A and I have to reach to point B. I have to start from here and I have to go to B. So when I started from here, I saw is I have this particular road to go to B. So I will go by this way. So this is, I will measure the length of this particular path. When I measure the length of this particular path, that will be called as distance. Suppose this is, I name it as P. So P is 10 kilometer. Then I saw that there are certain blockages on this particular road. So I thought of going by this way. Q. As this road is not open, I choose to go by this road. So destination is same, starting point is same. Starting point is A and destination is B, but the path chosen is different. Now what is my distance? What is the distance covered by me? Is it 10 kilometer? No. It is whatever actual length of the path I have covered, that I have to measure. I will count this particular distance, I will measure this particular distance, and that distance measured, say it is 15 kilometer. This particular distance, then I can say the distance between A and B is 15 kilometer because my path was Q. So by path P it is 10 kilometer, by path Q it is 15 kilometer. I can go by another way also. R, path R. So it can be 25 kilometer. Path can be 25 kilometer also, because I will have to measure this particular distance. Actual length of the path which I will cover, actual length of the path on which I will go, that length I will have to measure. And when I will measure the actual length of the path, that will become the distance covered by me. Distance covered by me. So when I say what is the distance between A and B, it will always depend upon the path which I have chosen. Path which I have chosen, on that particular position, on that particular factor, the distance depend. Okay. So distance is the actual length of the path covered. This I think you must have understood properly. Now see certain things about it. Distance is denoted by D, maybe small d or sometimes capital D. Distance is denoted by D. Then it's SI unit. SI unit or MKS unit is meter. Distance is measured in terms of meter. It's CGS unit, smaller unit. There are systems of measurement of quantities. MKS system, CGS system, FPS system. FPS is British system, So we generally do not use it, but you know it. Foot, pound and second system. MKS, meter, kilogram and second. Whenever the measurements are taken in meter, kilogram and second, then that is MKS system. It is widely accepted. It is accepted internationally, and therefore it has become the standard system for measurements, which we call it as SI units. Then another system that includes smaller units, that is centimeter, gram and second. So that way has become the CGS system. So in CGS system, distance is measured in terms of centimeter. Now when I say distance D, so I will measure the actual length of the path. If I will go on a straight line, then it will be again the same thing, actual length of the path which I will cover, that I will have to measure. So this is about the distance. Now there is another term called as displacement. Displacement. When I think about displacement, or when I start talking about displacement, things which comes in my mind: displaced. Body is being displaced. But what exactly the meaning of displaced? What is the meaning of displacement in physics? That we have to think, that we have to study. So displacement is a straight line path from initial to final position. It's a very, very important concept. If you know this concept, you understand this concept, then only you can understand the remaining part of the physics. Okay, so displacement is the straight line distance from initial to final position. When I use the word straight line, means straight line. From, because it is direction based. Now here you cannot use the word between. Here you will have to specify the direction from where to where. That is why I am using the word from. So once again I will repeat the definition. Displacement is the straight line distance from initial position to final position. What does it mean? We will take another example, one example. Suppose I have to go from A to B. A to B. When I am going from A to B, as I went from this to this path, is it a displacement? Is it a shortest distance? Is it a straight line distance? No, because in books it is given it is the shortest distance. So shortest distance means, so it can be, if I will see these three paths, out of these three paths, P is the shortest path, but that is not a displacement. That is why when I defined it, I said it is a straight line distance. Straight line, it is always a straight line distance, whether the path is available or not. Whether the path is available or not, you can go by P path, you can go by Q path, you can go by R path, you go by any path, but your displacement will always be counted as straight line distance AB, this one. If path is available, okay. If path is not available, even if you go by path Q, your displacement is this much. Your distance is this one, but your displacement is AB, which is coming as per the straight line. So it is a straight line distance from where you have started. You started from A. So distance, direction is important. So it is a straight line distance from initial to final position, because it's direction specific, and hence it is a vector quantity also. So AB is a displacement. So this is the basic difference between distance and displacement. Distance is, P is distance, Q is distance, R is distance. If the path is possible, then this is also a distance. Okay, so all these four are distances, but the displacement is only this particular path. So you can name it as, suppose RS. So ASB is a displacement, and PQR and S are distances. So this is the basic difference between distance and displacement. Displacement is measured in it is denoted by small s. Displacement is denoted by small s. This is the notation, and measured in terms of SI unit of, as it is again a distance, SI unit is meter and CGS unit is centimeter. CGS unit is centimeter. So this is how the distance and displacement are being defined in physics. So when I have to think about the distance and displacement, there are certain things which I have to discuss, or I should know. So we will discuss about the differences of distance and displacement. So first difference of distance and displacement. First is the definition itself. Definition of distance and definition of displacement. Second point comes, distance is always positive because we are measuring. We are starting from one point and we are going on adding it. So distance will always be positive, whereas displacement can be positive, can be negative, or zero. We will see this. Displacement can be positive, can be negative, can be zero. How that we will study. So this is another difference. Every distance cannot be a displacement, but every displacement is a distance. That is the third point. First point is definition, second point is positive, negative, or zero, and third point says that every distance is not a displacement, but every displacement is a distance. So this is the third point of distance and displacement. So this is how we can categorize, or we can differentiate between distance and displacement. Now we'll go ahead. We will see this particular point, positive, negative, and zero. What exactly the meaning of this positive, negative, and zero displacement. Suppose I am starting from point A. Again, I will take the same example. I am starting from point A and I am going to point B. Let this distance is 10 kilometer. When I go from A to B, my displacement is 10 kilometer. But when I come back from here to say point C, and B to C is 4 kilometer. B to C is 4 kilometer, then my displacement, now displacement, this was my starting point, I went to B and then I came back to C. Now displacement means my initial point is A, final point is C. So displacement is 10 minus 4, because this is a negative distance, negative measurement, that is minus 4 kilometer. So this will become 10 minus 4 equals to 6 kilometer. So my displacement from A to C is 6 kilometer. If I come back to A, so displacement between A and A means if I come back to the origin position, then my displacement will be 10 minus 10 equal to 0. So displacement is 0. Displacement is 0. If I will come back to the origin, then displacement of the body is 0. Third, last point. If I will go, instead of coming over here, if I will go along the same line at particular another position, suppose at D, then displacement AD will be equals to 10 minus, now this is 10 coming back when it started from B, the total distance covered till A is 10, and suppose it has gone some 3 kilometer on this side. So if the body has gone 3 kilometer on this side, so this will become 13 kilometer. So my displacement will be minus 3 kilometer. Minus 3 kilometer. So minus 3 kilometer. So displacement is negative. This is how we can say that distance can be positive, can be 0, or can be negative. So displacement can be positive, 0 or negative. But when I talk about distance in the same case, then it will be 10 plus 4, 14 plus 6, 20, 20 plus 3, 23. It is always added. Distance is always added, but it doesn't happen with the displacement. Distance is always added. It doesn't happen with displacement. That can be taken as the fourth point. So this is how we see the difference between distance and displacement. Distance is the actual length of the path covered by the body. Displacement is the straight line path from initial to final position. Distance is always positive. Displacement can be positive, negative, or 0. Then third point, every distance cannot be a displacement, but every displacement is a distance. And the fourth point, which I have already told you, that distance is always added and displacement is not always added. It depends upon the position. And the last point of difference is, it is a scalar quantity and it is a vector quantity, as it depends upon the direction. Well, displacement depends upon direction. We have seen when it is coming back, the displacement was decreasing, isn't it? So it depends upon direction. It does not depend upon direction. So the quantities which depends on magnitude only are called as scalar quantities, and the physical quantities which requires magnitude as well as direction to specify, then those quantities are called as vector quantity. So displacement requires magnitude as well as direction, therefore it is a vector quantity, and this is a scalar quantity. So these are the differences between distance and displacement. So I hope you must have understood this particular topic of distance and displacement. Thank you.